After leading the Tennessee Volunteers to its first national championship in program history, it's time to start asking the question, is Tony Vitello the best head coach in college baseball? And if not, who is? Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn notifications. Check us out via podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us across all social media platforms, as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. We're brought to you by our friends over at Prize Picks. Guys, download the Prize Picks app or go to prizepicks.com. And when you do, use promo code SECU for a first deposit match of up to $100. Again, that's our friends at Prize Picks, promo code SECU to get your first deposit match today. Tony Vitello has led the Tennessee Volunteers to their first national championship in program history. And that leads us to the question that I had immediately following the game. Is it fair or unfair to, at this juncture, call Tony Vitello the best head coach in college baseball? And guys, I want to take you back to a time before this season began, early February. Every year I drop my power rankings for head coaches before virtually every single season, whether it's basketball, baseball, or football. Just a fun thing to do. And of course, who doesn't love list season as we get closer and closer to the actual season's beginning? Either way, though, I dropped my power rankings of head coaches before the season began. Number one for me was Florida's Kevin O'Sullivan. I had the likes of Dave Van Horn up there in the top 5. Tim Corbin was in the top 5 as well. Jay Johnson from LSU. And at number 5 on my list, I had Tony Vitello. As you can imagine, guys, there was a lot of pushback from the Tennessee fan base, which I respect and admire. The beauty is in the banter. But what I also mentioned was this, and I echo this today. There is not a head coach in college baseball that if I were starting a program tomorrow, if I had a head coaching vacancy, my first call would be Tony Vitello. And there is nobody else in college baseball I'd rather have leading my program than Tony Vitello. When you think about the current climate of college baseball and baseball in general, the way he relates with players, the way he recruits, the way he does NIL, and oh, by the way he's won, the job he has done on the field. Guys, I still think, even as we sit here less than 24 hours after Tennessee's victory and the Tennessee's national championship, first in program history, I'm still not sure a lot of folks grasp how special what Tony Vitello is doing in Knoxville. I recall a time, guys, early 2010s, where you would look at the Tennessee series. That was one of those series, guys, on the schedule that you would look at and say, okay, that's one we know we're going to win 2 of 3. Maybe we can sweep. Like, that's how you looked at it. And it didn't matter whether it was in Knoxville, if it was at home, right? Lindsey Nelson Stadium was dead. There was no baseball atmosphere, no baseball environment. There was very, very little tradition. And Tennessee, again, was one of those programs you looked at in the bottom third of the SEC, and you could almost count on as an easy series victory. They're all but that now, right? But you think about what Tony Vitello took over and what he's done since. Guys, 2017, Tony Vitello was hired by the Tennessee Volunteers. He took over a Tennessee baseball program, get this, that had not made the NCAA tournament. Not the Supers, not Omaha. They had not even made the tournament since 2005. To say that the challenge was a great one for Vitello, that is the understatement of the century, right? A program that, let's just call it for what it is. Facilities were out of date, hadn't been to the tournament in over 10 years. A school in which there's no denying football, number 1. You could argue basketball at that point, number 2. Heck, you could argue the Lady Vols were ahead of the baseball program at that point. Just saying. Hadn't made the tournament since 2005. Takes over in 2017, guys. Since then, get this, since then, 5 NCAA tournament appearances, 3 College World Series appearances, 2 SEC titles, and now a national championship. Guys, Tennessee baseball has 5 50-win seasons in program history. Tony Vitello has 3 of them. Tennessee now has a 60-win season with their victory over Texas A&M in Game 3. 60 wins en route to a national championship. And I think, guys, we got kind of a laugh out of Xander Sechrist in the postgame when he yelled, I think, to Tennessee's athletic director to the back of the room and said, give Tony V a lifetime contract. I don't think that's too much, guys. I don't think that's too much. And I know there's going to be some pushback here from opposing fan bases. You know, I think there's an argument for Jay Johnson. There's an argument for Kevin O'Sullivan. There's an argument for Mike Bianco. There's an argument maybe for a Dave Van Horn. When you think about length of tenure, certainly. But guys, right now, and I'm not trying to be too much recency bias, and I don't think it is. Like, the national championship, guys, is just the icing on the cake. This is not a small sample size, what Tony Vitello is doing at Tennessee. It's not and guys, you think about it. We're talking about the 3 College World Series appearances. That doesn't include 2022, where they didn't make it to Omaha, but that's one of the best teams in college baseball history. One of the most talented teams in college baseball history, and Tony Vitello constructed that thing. So, for my money's worth, guys, Tony Vitello is the best head coach in college baseball. I just, again, for the current climate of the game especially, with the way the game is played, the way he's able to recruit, the way he's able to go out in the portal, the way he can relate with players, and the way he has put his mark and his stamp on that Tennessee program, I'm a huge Kevin O'Sullivan guy. Love Dave Van Horn. Think Mike Bianco, Tim Corbin are great. Everybody's playing second fiddle to Tony Vitello right now. And I think the national championship, winning that title, and guys, that's why I said for years and years and years, it's a matter of when, not a matter of if with Tony Vitello. It always was. It always was. When you looked at the DNA of the program, yes, there were times they came up short and people got rubbed the wrong way because of some of the quote-unquote antics and the fiery personality or what have you. I love that. I mean, the dude is a competitor. There may not be a greater competitor across college baseball at the head coaching spot than Tony Vitello. Again, the way he's been able to build it, and it's not a small sample size because some will look at this and say, oh, you just won the national championship. Of course, you're going to rank number 1. What about Jay Johnson last year? And respect to those guys, man. Respect to them, right? A lot of great coaches in the SEC. But for my money's worth right now, and I think what this national championship, it just went the extra step in proving Tony Vitello, when you talk about head coaches in college baseball, and there are many great ones. There are many great ones. But it's time for us to finally stop and admit, especially when you look at what he's done with the Tennessee baseball program, and they're not going away anytime soon. They're not going away. I mean, they're investing $100 million into Lindsey Nelson Stadium. And Tennessee is going to lock up Tony V, make sure he's taken care of. He ain't going anywhere. Listen to Tony V in Omaha. He loves building a program. He loves creating a program after his name and his image. I don't think he's leaving town anytime soon to leave that. I think he loves that too much. Loves being at Tennessee. And oh, by the way, he's built one of the powerhouses in the SEC as well. So, guys, again, when you look at the college baseball landscape, and again, this might sound like recency bias because Tennessee just won their first national championship in program history. It's not just that, though. It's the entire body of work. It has culminated in a national title. I don't think this is going to be Tony Vitello's last one. And as good as the college baseball landscape is, as many great coaches as there are, it's Tony Vitello that stands atop the mountain, and it's time we admit that he is the best head coach in all of college baseball. Guys, it's going to do it for me. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn notifications. Check us out via podcast wherever you get your podcast. You can also find us across all social media platforms as well as our website, SECUnfiltered.com. Until next time, guys, I'm Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in, and we'll catch you on the other side.